Micah was a village boy from the province of Judah, gone up to Jerusalem, up to the big city, to prophesy against the increasingly corrupt urban elite. See, in Micah's day, Jerusalem was becoming increasingly immoral, a concentration of spiritual and political and economic power that meant the rich got richer and the poor got poorer. The center profited and the margins paid. And even the Davidic kings, the sons and grandsons of David, who were born in Jerusalem into a place of luxury and privilege, even they were caught up in this and unaware of this, and had moved away from a love of God and a passion for justice. And so Micah's prophecy is very much calling people away from Jerusalem and back towards a simpler time, back towards a time symbolized by the innocence and the purity of Bethlehem. And that's what we read in Micah's famous prophecy in Micah chapter 5 from verse 2, where he names Bethlehem as the place where the promised one will be born. But you, O Bethlehem Ephrathah, who are too little to be among the clans of Judah, you're such a small, unimportant little village. From you shall come forth for me one who is to be ruler in Israel, whose coming forth is from old, from ancient days. Therefore he will give them up until the time when she who is in labour has given birth. Then the rest of his brothers shall return to the people of Israel. So here again there's this theme of mothers giving birth, of nativity, that we've seen all the way through the Bethlehem story, and we see it again here. And he shall stand and shepherd his flock in the strength of the Lord. So here again we see that the ruler who will come forth from Bethlehem is like a shepherd. He will shepherd his flock in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of the name of the Lord his God, and they will dwell secure. For now he shall be great to the ends of the earth, and he shall be their peace. These poor, oppressed people that have been mistreated by those in power will know a ruler who will give them security and who will give them peace. And so he gathers up all the nostalgia that lingers in people's minds around Bethlehem, around David, around shepherding, around innocence and purity, and he calls people back to this. And this prophecy stayed with people in the book of Micah. And so when the wise men, when the Magi came from the east, following the star, searching for the king who was to be born, they came to Jerusalem because they thought kings are born in palaces. And when they came to the palace and asked about the king, the scribes got out the scroll of Micah and looked it up and showed them and said, no, look, the prophecy says the king is not going to be born in the palace in the middle of all of this riches and power. The king is going to be born in Bethlehem. And so we see here again, friends, a wonderful thing about our Lord Jesus, that his incarnation, his birth in Bethlehem, amongst the poor, amongst the unimportant, amongst the overlooked and the forgotten, the downtrodden and oppressed of the world, shows us something about God. Part of the Bethlehem story is a passion for justice in the margins of the world, because Micah will go on to say, won't he, what does the Lord require of you? He doesn't require of you, and he's prophesying against Jerusalem. He does not require of you. I'm reading from Micah chapter 6. Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000 rivers of oil? He's saying, do all the sacrifices that happen in the temple, is that what's important? And then he says, he's told you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God.